My oldest daughter, Taylor Grace, is 16. She's had asthma ever since she was a baby. My wife was smart enough to figure out a long time ago that the dust mites in the pillows get into her system, get into her sinuses, and create all kinds of havoc. She coughs all night. And if we're on vacation, if she's miserable, we're miserable. Second time we stayed at the Ritz, they said, oh, by the way, in the kids' rooms, we'd like to have hypoallergenic pillows. What do you think their response was? It's already there. It's already there. I feel known. And because I feel known, they have cemented my loyalty. Now, I will tell you that there is a group, an industry, that hasn't figured this out very well, at least in the U.S. I am not going to speak for Indian companies. But the financial services industry in the U.S. has not figured this out very well. My wife and I left a very large banking institution many years ago to go with a small community bank in San Diego. Why? We wanted the personal attention. We interviewed 4. We chose 1. For the first 9 months, we got world-class service. It was really marvelous. Somewhere between month 9 and month 12, somewhere in there, we started to feel like a number again. We started to feel like a cog in the wheel. Why? Because the small community bank got bought by a big, large banking institution. They had everything I could possibly give them in terms of information. They had all our tax returns. We have a plethora of products with them. The business has products. Our kids have products. They're pretty well into us. A couple of years ago, I called the bank. I said, I'd like to refi my home. What do you think they sent me? An application. What kind of application do you think it was?
Blank one.
A blank one. Thank you very much. A blank one. Now, I got to tell you, gang, that made me angry. I know it's irrational. I know it's idiosyncratic, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I gave you all the cotton picking information. Why didn't you get your hands on it? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I may not represent every market segment that's out there, but I represent a lot of them. And I will promise you this morning that I am not going down the street and shopping for a quarter point less on my mortgage when a financial institution or a mortgage company comes to me and says, Dr. Freiberg, we've got this thing 90% filled out. There might be a few things that have changed about you since we last talked. If you can fill out the remaining 10%, we will have this deal done for you in 24 hours or less because we know you. Deepening the relationship. I mean, at the end of the day, what's the success behind this outfit? They figured out through technology, but they've also figured out culturally that every time they touch me, they learn something new about me. I buy spiritual books, they know it. I buy business books, they know it. I buy music, they know it. And based on what they know, they start making very targeted, don't waste my time, don't screw around with me, recommendations that are relevant to the history of things that I buy. Very, very powerful. Question number 3 that I think world-class companies are asking themselves: are we worthy of the loyalty that we desire? I mean, are we really worthy of the customer lifetime loyalty that we all want in this room? I want you to just think about that for a minute in your own business. It's a tough question. It's a sobering question. I don't know how many of you are familiar with a company called, let me just ask, how many of you are familiar with a company called USAA in the United States? Anybody know USAA? USAA is a small little insurance company. Now they're a full-blown financial services firm. Small little $75 billion company. They have 94% of the market. 94% is pretty good, right? Started by 22 Air Force officers who could not get insurance because they were in the military and they were in harm's way. So they decided to insure themselves. And it has grown now into a $75 billion enterprise that serves military officers and their families and now the enlisted folks as well. You go down there and you ask the retired Air Force generals who built up this joint, you say, what gives you the right to have 94% of the market? And what you're going to hear is some version of, we learned a long time ago, that every single day, every single interaction is yet another opportunity to earn the right to do business with our members. I call it courtship. Now, I know we have a lot of cultural differences in the room here, and I know that in some of your cases, you still embrace arranged marriages in India, but I know in many of your cases you don't. So, do you all understand dating? Okay. A quick personal story, if I might. I told you I have an anniversary coming up here in a week. About 22 years ago, I was completing a graduate degree, and I had my eye on a young woman named Jacqueline Portal. And I really liked her. It took me about 8 weeks to ask her out. I wasn't Mr. Courageous, but I finally got the courage. And when I did, she said yes. I was so relieved. And when she said yes, I went into planning mode. Right? I knew I got one shot at this thing. I'm not going to screw it up. So I planned that date to a T. I came home early that day. I washed and waxed the car. The car looked really good. I took a 2-hour shower. I said, I'll pick you up at 7:30. I want you to know I was on the curb, parking the car at 7:25, knocking on the door at 7:30. She came out. I noticed everything about her. I complimented her. I walked her out the car. I opened the door. We went off on this perfectly executed date. At least that's the way I remembered it. 2.5 years later, Jacqueline Portal became Jackie Freiberg. And I'd still ask her out on a date, you know? It's just that my methodology changed a little bit. Now, it was, I hate to tell you this, but it was, you know, buck naked at 6:30 in the morning, standing in front of the mirror with a mouthful of toothpaste. Hey, honey, you want to go out tonight? And instead of the resounding yes I used to get, now it was maybe. Like, we'll see if I get a better offer before the end of the day, right? I said, we need a date. Let's go out. She said, what time? I said, 6:30. I'm coming home from somewhere. It's 6:45. I'm late, and I'm in trouble. How many of you guys in this room have ever been in trouble? Okay, you know what I'm talking about. So I look at the car. I said, I lost the car. How the heck with that? I'm in trouble. Pull in, run upstairs, grab the first clean shirt I can find, button up. I get back in the car, pull the door out of the garage. I'm sitting in the driveway, and I'm waiting. And I'm waiting. And I'm waiting. And she's not coming. So I'm thinking, well, I need to do something to motivate her a little bit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know I have 2 graduate degrees, both of them in communication. She comes out, she's got this look on her face, like, now you are in big trouble. Gets in the car, opens her own car door. And because I know I'm in trouble, I think of the most creative thing I could say, which was, well, hon, what do you want to do? And the date sort of went into a downward spiral after that. Now, what's the lesson? Well, let me take you back to USAA for just a moment. Let me take you back to the first Gulf War. They had so much information on their customers, they knew who was serving in the Gulf, who was coming home, when. And our troops came home, and they sent them a very nice note that said, thank you for fighting for democracy and defending freedom. We're so glad that you're coming home safe and unharmed. Attached is a premium refund check for the whole time that you were serving over in the Gulf, because you see, we figured that while you were over in the Gulf, you weren't driving your car very much. I call it courtship after marriage.